Kind of getting our panelists' take on what is a talkable brand?
When I think of a talkable brand, I think any brand can be talkable. I don't think there is a definition of it. I think how people go out there, and whether it's through traditional channels like PR or advertising, I think it's how they really look at their audience and know what their audience wants and gets them engaged. It's not about, am I a big brand? I think you can have the smallest brand in the world be more talkable than an HP, an IBM, whoever it may be. It's how you really want to look at that audience and understand what they want to hear from you, not just pushing stuff out of them. So I think anything is a talkable brand.
Brand big or small, more talkable.
I think in Austin here, I mean, we mostly work with small companies, so we want them to really step back and be a little bit more bold than the big brands, and I think the big brands sometimes are a little too cautious, so we have that ability to look at those smaller companies and say, you know what, you can be a little bit more bold and go out there and make claims or statements that, you know, other companies might not, because they have legal, they have investors, they have other people. So it's really looking at, for our standpoint, is what really are those boundaries that you have to set from being a talkable brand? Can you be a little bit more bold?
Talk a little bit about how you go about helping to make a big brand more talkable by tapping into community.
Yeah, and I think in some ways it's not rocket science, right? We had a group of so I worked at Lego, the toy company, before I started this business, and we had a lot of people that for decades had wanted to interact with people at the company, and so it wasn't really hard to say, well, maybe we should start that process. And as soon as we did, amazing things happened. As soon as we started really asking, what's your opinion on products? They started giving us opinions on products that turned out to, you know, I don't want to go so far as to say save the company, but brought it back from the brink of financial ruin. That's what the community was saying, look, here's what we'll buy. And even though it really challenged our mindset about what reality was, when they'd said, we'll buy big products, we'll buy expensive products, and we started continually pushing the edge of that envelope of what expensive meant. And if you look at the store shelves today, there's $500, 5,000-piece Lego sets that exist. We've seen it, it's the Millennium Falcon, that's huge, but it's 5,000 pieces, it costs $500. And you know, by traditional logic, no 7 to 12-year-old boy would buy that or have that bought for them. Couldn't possibly do it. But there's this whole other market of adult fans, of parents who've grown up on Lego and are now starting to say, wouldn't it be great if I could build with my son or daughter? And so, you know, it was really quite simple. There was a lot of people really struggling to talk to us, and we sat down and listened. I mean, that was, you know, it doesn't sound that complex, and there's a lot of details that went behind that, of course, but it really was that simple. We had a Wired cover story about how we designed the second version of the Lego Mindstorm's robotic system. It was revolutionary at that time, right? It was 2006. It was a big deal to say, oh my God, designing products together with your customers, I can't believe that. Well, there was 2 stories today about Mountain Dew and Dunkin' Donuts doing, you know, find the people that are screaming at you to pay attention, and then you pay attention. I mean, it's really, like I said, it's really that simple.
Talk a little bit about the things you do and how that goes into helping to make a brand more talkable.
Well, we look at it kind of in 3 components. It's more of the pre-store, the in-store, and the post-store. And each one of those components, there's an opportunity to become a talkable brand or to talk within that environment about the brand. So, so within the in-store environment, those, you know, some of the elements can be as simple as sampling, you know, letting the consumers experience your product through touch, taste, smell, sight, and then, you know, leading them to that place of purchase and purchasing the product. The post-store kind of experience is once they have that product at home, what are they going to say about it? What are they going to talk about? What are they going to talk about? How are they going to talk about their experience that they had in the store with their brand and then them taking it home? So it kind of like it gives the touch part of what these guys are doing from the social aspect.
And there were over 3 billion word-of-mouth conversations a day here in the U.S. Of that, 90% of those conversations are person-to-person, voice-to-voice. 10% happen online, yet online gets all the press. Because in a way, there's that trail.
Because Zyrtec has a QR code here. You know, that right there, they can take a picture of that with a phone now, and it can take them to a whole new experience while they're in the store.
so many options for us. As you just talked about, so many online, offline options out there. How should we go about picking and choosing what the strategy is for how to use technology or how to use low-tech technology or person-to-person communication?
For me, I mean, it kind of depends on what the brand is. I mean, for like the Zyrtec, the person that's going to buy that is looking for it to solve their problem. So, you know, they want information. It's probably a $10-ish cost, $14 cost. So it's not expensive, but it's not going to be a bag of, you know, $1.50 chips. You know, so your investment is a little bit different with this, with Zyrtec than chips. So it really depends on kind of what that brand is and what kind of investment that consumer's going to be doing with for cost, as well as time, as well as how fast do they need their situation solved.
And I think it goes to the demographics of understanding your customer
Right.
base. You know, who are you really targeting? And that goes back to the listening, and it's not a strategy of do I use social media, it's what is my entire business strategy.
Yeah, it is surprising how many people skip sort of the why am I doing this, how is it going to affect the bottom line of my own business, and go straight to tactics, right?
Yes.
They don't think about what the purpose of any of these things are in the first place. You know, I think you know, I've said before that the killer app of social media is discovering your business objectives. Because at the end of the day, if you're not really forcing yourself to look at what your own strategies are, what your own objectives are, and then balancing all these tool options against that, very often those tools shake out of those discussions. Right? So if you start saying your objective is, you know, whatever, very simply, if it's a new product and I'm just trying to get awareness for it, that's a vastly different program than if I am
Trying to increase sales.
Trying to increase sales or improve product design or something like that. My goal is to improve my product design at this moment, and a year from now when it comes out to then generate awareness around that new product. Today, I'm not going to worry about vast, large millions of people campaigns. I'm going to find 15 people that are the smartest, best representatives of the community itself to come in and work with me for that next year to make sure that that product's fine, so that when I go to launch, I can say, look, let me introduce you to the people that were one of you that were out there, right? But that's 15 people. That's not 15 million I'm trying to target.